Alright, quick update on green Satoshi token. So today in the evening time, a lot of the altcoins are starting to have pretty nice bounces. The green Satoshi token is being a little bit mundane today. On the daily, we are up about 3%, which is surprising considering this has a much lower market cap than some of the altcoins. Some of the other altcoins I'm looking at, for example, Solana had some pretty bearish news coming out on one of its Solend protocols, and it still managed to have an 8% move to the upside, and this is the top 9 crypto, whereas GST is still kind of hanging around in the region that we were at yesterday, and I imagine if we switch over to the Heikin-Ashis, you can very much tell that we are still in a pretty nasty downtrend. So I'm going to be looking at how this is going on the Heikin-Ashi candles because I think this defines the trend absolutely beautifully. Now, if we look at the volume over on the volume candles, I mean, you can very much see that the daily volume is still quite exceptional in favor of the bears. If we switch off to the lower time frames as well, this has been relatively flat throughout its entirety, to be honest. And I mean, it's very obvious if we switch over to the Japanese candlesticks, where you can really see it's a very hush-puppy mix between some buyers stepping in, and then predominantly it's sellers stepping in, some buyers, predominantly sellers, and then you get these big bearish wicks of volume. At this moment in time, we're really just lollygagging. So since my last update on green Satoshi token, I had I've had two predictions in my last couple of videos, to be honest. So the last video, we were sitting at around about 25 cent, and we were calling for a 55% drop down to 11 cent. Now, we really haven't started moving too much. We're only down about 11% since the last video. However, our macro prediction that we made around, well, it was all the way up here, so we made this prediction at least around the 12th of June, meaning this has been in our mind for about over a month now. We were calling for a drop while we were at 43 cent. We were calling for this drop all the way down to 18 cent. This was a 57% drop we were calling for, and at this moment in time, even after the pump, we are still down 49%, which is absolutely beautiful. I still do think this is very much going to come into fruition. You can see 4-hourly time frame, we are starting to step in with a tiny amount of volume, but really not too much, which is still quite worrying for green Satoshi token. We're only really slightly ticking into the green over on the 4-hourly time frame. We are pumping into the hourly EMA ribbons, but I really think if you want, for example, I don't think the altcoin bottom is in. I think we have lower to go for all the altcoin markets, really. If we look at total too, the only reason I think we're having a slight bounce today is because we've come back down to the 786 Fibonacci, we've come back to the 200-week moving average, and bear in mind, I mean, we've been rolling down the hill non-stop for the past couple of months now, so it's really not too crazy to expect to have a pump every now and then. I mean, it was never going to drop in a straight line. The fact of the matter is, you know, you do zoom out and you once again see that a lot of these pumps that we're seeing in the past couple of days are almost invisible when you switch out, and especially when you switch over to the Heikin-Ashis, the pumps are just non-existent, because this is a great way to characterize how the trend is moving. And as you can see, when we switch over to the Heikin-Ashis, we haven't even pushed into green yet because we don't have enough momentum. Squeeze Mom is very stagnant right now. We've been more or less chopping to the side with not a high amount of volume, so that is kind of why we are losing a little bit of momentum in favor of the bears. But I do think if we are going to gain any momentum and push back to the upside, you would need to take out a couple of areas. The first one is coming into about the 24.5 cent. This is where the 4-hourly EMA ribbon is, and I definitely think something like this could happen. Bear in mind, you know, we are having this pump over the weekend for the crypto markets, but the stock market closed bearish last week and the dollar closed bullish, so we're really going to need to see what happens when the New York Stock Exchange opens tomorrow. If we do see, you know, the SPY, the stock market, the Nasdaq tech stocks start to collide to the downside, and we see the DXY US dollar index continue to push up, this is going to massively bleed into Bitcoin. So I did just want to give you a warning sign. You know, we have done this, you know, 1,000,001 times. I mean, remember, green Satoshi token pumped, you know, 67% up to 52 cent only a couple of weeks ago or so, and we're literally right back down, and we are pumping right now up to 22 cent, and people are getting out of bed for this. So there's a lot of areas that we do need to take out from our most recent low to the high. Let's see what some of our Fibonacci's are saying. From this impulse to our low, we're not even up to the first fib, so there's so many areas that we would need to take out, and you really wouldn't be out the clear until you take out your 618 Fibonacci at 34 cent, which I know, no one really wants to wait for the price to move up that far and have a confirmed breakout to enter the trade, but nonetheless, nothing has changed. The Fed is still hawkish, they're still raising the interest rates, the stock market is still crashing, the dollar is still going up. As far as I can tell, this is just a short squeeze over the weekend for the crypto market. So be super cautious if you're trading GST, GMT, any of the move to earns or any altcoins right now. As far as I can tell, this is just a move over the weekend as to be expected in the crypto markets, and I would expect the next move down would be back down to 18.5 cent to fulfill this price target that I've had for a very long period of time right now. We would have to look at the market, see how we react to 18.6 cent to this 4.236 Fibonacci, but after then the next leg to the downside would be down to 11.38 cent, which is currently my next prediction for green Satoshi token. That's all I've got for you today. Super short and sweet as always, not financial advice. Cowboy out. Peace.